Okay, let's just jump right in. Have you ever had that gut feeling in a relationship? Could be with a partner, a friend, even family. It's the sense that something is just off. You can't quite put your finger on it, but you feel like you're being pulled by these invisible strings, and you don't even realize how tangled up you've gotten. Seriously, think about it. You go into a conversation trying to talk about something that's bothering you, and somehow, by the end of it, you're the one apologizing. You walk away feeling completely dizzy, like the ground just shifted and you have no idea which way is up anymore. If that sounds even remotely familiar, you really need to hear this. It's not you. You are not the problem. What you might be dealing with is the hidden, subtle game of psychological manipulation. So today we're going to pull back that curtain, we're going to expose these tactics one by one. Let's get into the first sign. Alright, first up, distorting your reality. This is the manipulator's absolute bread and butter. They are masters at taking what you say and twisting it into something you never ever meant. It leaves you just questioning what you even said in the first place. This right here just nails it perfectly. You share a totally valid feeling, right? Hey, it hurt my feelings when you canceled. But instead of hearing you, they just flip the script. Your hurt suddenly becomes an accusation that you're controlling. And just like that, the spotlight is completely off their behavior, and it's shining right on your supposed overreaction. So now you're the one on the defense. For what? For just having feelings? And this kind of reality bending can get even darker. It can turn into full-blown gaslighting. This term actually comes from an old play where a husband keeps dimming the gas lights in the house, and when his wife points it out, he convinces her she's just imagining it. And that's the whole point, to make you doubt your own senses, to doubt your own reality, until their version of events is the only one you feel you can trust. And these phrases, oh man, these are like the gaslighter's greatest hits. They'll look you dead in the eye and deny something they absolutely did. Or they'll tell you you're just being too emotional. Hearing this stuff over and over, it's like a slow poison to your self-confidence. And trust me, that is the entire point. So, for our second clue in unmasking this behavior, manipulators don't just mess with your head, they weaponize your heart. They take your deepest emotions, your guilt, your love, your loyalty, and they use them as a leverage against you. In a healthy relationship, there's no scorecard. But for a manipulator, there always is. When you hear things like this, it's not love, it's an invoice. They are putting you in a state of emotional debt that you can never, ever repay. And that way, you'll always feel like you owe them. Now, this next tactic, it's one of the most dangerous mainly because it's so subtle. A manipulator's number one enemy is your support system, your friends and your family. And why is that? Because they're your reality check. They're the ones who will pull you aside and say, hey, something's not right here. So a manipulator won't just forbid you from seeing them. No, it's much smarter than that. They just make it so emotionally exhausting to connect with anyone else that eventually you stop trying. So this brings up the biggest question of all, right? Why do people stay in these situations? And look, this has nothing to do with being weak. It's because manipulators are experts at creating this incredibly powerful, addictive cycle that is so hard to break. It always starts with the love bomb. They flood you with affection to make you feel like the center of the universe. You're hooked. But then, once they've got you, the devaluation phase begins. All those compliments, they turn into criticisms. The constant attention, it turns into cold silence. You're left feeling worthless, scrambling to figure out what on earth you did wrong. And then, right when you're about to give up, they throw you a tiny crumb of that affection you've been craving. That's called intermittent reinforcement. And it's as addictive as a slot machine. You just keep pulling the lever, hoping to hit that jackpot of love you felt at the very beginning. And this is the truth you have to really internalize. You're not addicted to the person who is hurting you. You're addicted to the memory of the person who love-bombed you. You're basically chasing a ghost. The person you fell for was just a performance. The real person is the one keeping you trapped on this awful emotional roller coaster. Okay, so we've looked at the tactics. Twisting your reality, using your own emotions against you, trapping you in this addictive cycle. Now for the most important part of all of this, how you break free and start taking back your power. This is probably the single most important thing to remember. Look, anybody can have a bad day. Anyone can say the wrong thing. But manipulation isn't an accident. It's a strategy. It is a pattern. And once you see that cycle, the love bombing, the devaluation, the guilt trips, you can't unsee it. That pattern, that is all the proof you will ever need. If any of this has been hitting home for you, please just let this sink in for a second. A manipulator's greatest weapon is making you believe their twisted version of who you are. But that story, it's a lie. You are not the problem. Your feelings are not an overreaction, and your reality is real. Just knowing this stuff is half the battle. Once you can see the playbook, the game starts to lose its power over you. So I want to leave you with this question. What is one small step you can take starting today to protect your own peace? Maybe it's just trusting that gut feeling you've been pushing down. Maybe it's reaching out to a friend you haven't talked to in a while. Or maybe it's just looking yourself in the mirror and saying, I am not crazy. Whatever it is, that first small step, that's where your freedom begins.